Mainstream spirituality promises deep transformation and real purpose, but what you get is surface-level comfort, a reassuring set of practices to string you along and make you temporarily feel better. The change you are hoping for never really materializes. Maybe it was to discover hidden knowledge, why the world is like this, or to transform into the best version of yourself, someone with the passion and talents to make a difference, instead of feeling like you're wasting your potential, or to find your purpose, what you're meant to be doing on this planet, something more exciting than being just another cog in the system. Instead, you get the illusion of progress. The mainstream answers don't feel quite right, or don't fully apply to you. You endlessly meditate and ground and balance your chakras, but you don't get anywhere near the person you want to be. At best, you become more peaceful and content. To me, that's not genuine self-improvement. That's pacification. All it really means is you become more accepting of how bad things are. You're less likely to do anything about the system that was so dissatisfying it's made you want to seek alternatives. So, mainstream spirituality is not the best way to achieve transformation in yourself or the world. But there is a truly alternative, easy and effective technique to really improve yourself in whatever direction you want. You fundamentally redesign your own energy body so that it generates the traits, talents, and state of being that you want. You can use this to become more motivated, smarter, outgoing, to finally embody your full potential. Whatever your dreams are, you can rebuild yourself until you're the right kind of person to turn it into a reality. All you need to do this is your intention applied in a certain way. There's no external force to appeal to, and no esoteric knowledge required. Why is this better than other practices? For one thing, you don't just tinker with what already exists. Continuously balance your chakras for temporary highs and tiny results. You can create new parts, completely alter the structure and qualities of your energy body. There's no limits to the change you can make, and it lasts longer because you're actually changing the foundations. It goes deeper than surface-level comfort. You don't need to rely on dubious hypnosis, subliminal, or activation videos, which could have anything encoded in them, or wait for external beings to help you. The transformation comes from you, so you can trust it. And you have the power over exactly when and how you change. Instead of going in one guru-approved direction and becoming just as passive as every other spiritual person, this new technique is totally customizable to your own goals. You can evolve in a more active way into a driven, energetic, outgoing person who effortlessly does all the things you keep putting off, or maximize one skill, or develop spiritual powers. There's no right or wrong path, you decide. And the best thing is, it's so simple, even for beginners. There's no equipment, no complex incantations, no outside energy involved. Just a few steps using intention and visualization. So anyone can do this. Anyone can experience real transformation. This video will tell you everything you need to know to get started. We'll begin with a very quick explanation of the essentials about spiritual energy and intention. Then it's straight on to the practical stuff. We'll go through the basic steps of changing your energy body that you can use time and time again. It's an incredibly versatile but easy process, which you can customize to suit you. To make sure you've got it, I'll give a detailed example, so you can see what it looks like applied to real life. There will also be a list of ideas for ways you could improve. Obviously, it's up to you, but they're there as a starting point if you need. Finally, I'll answer some of the questions you might have, including how to avoid common mistakes, so you're fully prepared to use this transformative technique. This will be different to anything you've heard before. It might not conform to what you've been told by spiritual teachers. Give it a go, see if anything happens. and make your own decision on what works for you. Right, let's get on with the explanation. Your body isn't just made up of physical matter. There's also many types of spiritual energy occupying the same space. You can picture it as lots of copies of you all laid on top of one another, but made of different materials with their own properties. The astral body, made of astral energy, is one layer in this larger stack, and we're going to call the whole thing the energy body. Now, we aren't going to get caught up in labelling every single layer, or what elements or planets they correspond with. Frankly, it doesn't really matter, at least for this technique. I'm only going to explain things that are strictly relevant to changing your energy body to achieve self-improvement. What you do need to know about the layers is that there's an order to them. Let's picture that your physical form, made of matter, is at the bottom of the stack, because it's the densest, most solid, most rigid type of energy. At the top, you've got the opposite, the most fluid, subtle, changeable types, and in the middle, a whole spectrum between these extremes. Each layer naturally mirrors those closest to it in the stack, because the more similar energies are, the more they can share information. For example, astral energy is pretty dense. It's not that far removed from matter. So your astral body has roughly the same organs and structure as your physical body. But as you get nearer the top, the layers are less and less reflective of your physical form. So there might be specialised areas, spiritual organs, if you like, that aren't present here. They'll have their own function, like how the third eye allows psychic perception. Human beings are so complex that it takes this complex setup to sustain us. Matter alone is not enough. We need many types of energy with their own properties and many specialised areas to work together to produce our best qualities. Consciousness, personality, everything you are ultimately comes from the operations and interactions within your energy body. But how does that interaction work? The main way that's relevant to this technique is a process I'm going to call translation. Very basically, a change in one layer spreads to those nearest to it in the stack, because they naturally mirror each other. It stays in the same place in the body, but it isn't a perfect copy of that initial change. Some detail and potency is lost in translation. However, if the initial transformation is clear and strong enough, even this weaker version will be able to translate again to the next layers, to the next types of energy. The stronger it is, the further it ripples down, and the closer it gets to your physical form, the more likely you are to feel a difference. Persistent, incredibly strong energetic change can even transform solid matter. For example, let's say for whatever reason a higher layer of your brain becomes more active in the areas associated with language. If it's strong enough, that will translate down to the denser layers of your brain in the same specialised area. Remember, your mind and talents are very complex. They don't just come from your physical brain. So even before it reaches the bottom of the stack, you might notice the quality of your writing improves, for instance. Eventually, there will be a small effect on the physical. The neurons there might fire more frequently, be more densely connected. Your language skills increase, not by a miracle, but the simple process of energetic change translating downward. So, to transform yourself in any way you want, you don't have to use esoteric symbolism or somehow directly change solid matter. The trick is to trigger the right energetic change in the right place and layer. The natural process of translation does the rest. Luckily, changing energy is very easy. It's a natural skill all humans have. It's just that most people don't know about it and don't use it. All you need to do is make your intention to transform strong and clear. That can be by putting it into words or visualizing what you want to happen. This activates specialized areas in the higher layers of your brain and heart. They're designed to beam your instructions to the relevant energy, without you having to know exactly where or what layer that is. That signal of intent is so powerful that the target energy is forced to change in the way you set out. It starts to translate downwards. More of your layers reflect the change you've made. Everything you are comes from the energy body, so as it changes, so does your mind, personality, and emotions. And that's the process. It's not esoteric or difficult, you're designed to do it. And it really can make you into whoever you dream of being. Another exciting aspect to learning this is that nearly the same process can also be used to affect the external world. You just intend to change an object, space, another person. It beams across as instructions, the relevant energy changes, and it translates down to affect them. So once you learn how to improve yourself, you can also try changing things around you in whatever way you want. I'm not going to discuss this any further in this video, but if you're interested, then I'll link to some other techniques on screen and in the description. One last note. While you don't need to know exactly the layer and area to put your intention into, it does help if you have a rough idea. Remember, the higher layers of you are more fluid and responsive, and so easier to change. If you're a beginner, it makes sense to focus on instructing those energies. Denser layers are harder to shift, but you'll get a stronger, more immediate change, because there's fewer stages of translation to go through. They also tend to snap back to their previous state quite quickly, so it might not last very long. Basically, there's a trade-off, summarised in this table. Keeping it as simple as possible, if you want a temporary boost to something, try changing the denser energies in the relevant area. If you've not done much energy work before, or you want a permanent transformation, you're thinking about changing higher energies. If you get very good at this, you can learn to do both at the same time for instant, strong, and permanent change. I will come back to this possibility once we've gone through the basic process. We've now got all the theory we need for the practical side to make sense. This technique allows you to change your energy body in any way you wish, which will translate into real effects on your mind, personality, and even physical body. You won't believe how simple it is. It works without you having to do anything elaborate or be an expert, in only 6 steps. Step 1 is to decide what you want to change about yourself, and what area of the body that roughly corresponds with. I can't tell you what the best transformation for you is. Everyone's going to be different, but I will say that you should pick one thing at a time. You want your intention to be clear so it has the best chance of translating downwards. Doing too much at once just makes it vague. To help choose, you can ask yourself, what's holding me back the most? Or what small tendency is stopping me from doing what I really want to do? Or you can envision the whole picture of what you wish you could be like, and pick one trait that you want to embody first. If you're not sure, I will give a list of ideas later in the video for inspiration. You can choose one of them. And don't stress about picking the absolutely optimal change. If you think of something more important, you can always repeat this technique. Once you've decided on the change you want, think, what area of the body is this associated with? Anything mental will be the brain. Anything emotional or personality-based will also involve the heart, or be more spread out across the torso. This isn't crucial, it just helps you focus your intent on the best area. So if you aren't sure, don't worry about it. Step 2. Go to somewhere you won't be disturbed, where there aren't distractions. You want to get into a state of calm focus, because that's what's best for instructing energy. You don't need to do a complex meditative practice, just a few deep breaths will do it. And that focus should be centered on the area of the body you already chose. Step 3 is when we start the instruction. State aloud, or in your head, I intend to change the relevant parts of my energy body so that... and then insert your aim. You can put in more details if you wish about how exactly it'll work. Say, this will be permanent, or a temporary change for whatever amount of time. Finally, I instruct them to start changing quality and structure in the best way to deliver this transformation. This doesn't have to be memorized or word perfect, as long as the basic components are all there. You state the area, exact change you want, length of the effect, and tell your energy body to start transforming to deliver that. You can have it written in front of you if that's easier, so long as when you read it, you mean it. You're not just reeling it off. Step 4 is about strengthening your intention and maximizing energetic change. Keep focusing on the relevant area of your body and will it to change. You can repeat your statement of intent to help with this, or just feel that will as strongly as you can. It also helps to add further instruction with as soon as possible, as much as possible, as thoroughly as possible, and so on. To strengthen your intent even further, you can visualize either the energy itself changing or what the outcome of this transformation will be. So you might picture your new self, how you'll feel, think, act, and react differently. There might be a strange sensation as your energy transforms. This is a great sign it's working, so don't be alarmed by it. If you've not done much energy work before or haven't unlocked your psychic abilities yet, you might not sense much at all, but it will still work, so long as you genuinely intend. When that sensation stops, when it feels like your energy has transformed as much as it can, then we get on to step 5. If you're not sure if it's done, then a couple of minutes of instruction will definitely be enough. Step 5 is to make sure that the energetic change translates well. Intend through stating, willing, visualizing, just like before, for the changes you made to healthily translate down the layers, so that they affect your behaviour, etc., as soon as possible. You can also add something about your energy recovering. This is a big exertion, so this'll just help your body settle into its new state in a healthy way. Step 6 is when you get your result and monitor the change you've created. Once you've finished intending, you can get up and go about your business. No special closing ritual is needed. You might find that you're a bit tired, especially if you're a beginner or managed a significant transformation. Changing your energy body takes effort, but the payoff will be worth it. You might want to rest for a while or do something simple. When you can expect your results depends on what aim you chose. A temporary change on denser layers should come over you in a couple of minutes or so. Do whatever you intended to in that state, and when it fades you might want to take notes of how it felt, how well you think you did the technique, what you could do better next time. For a permanent change, because you're working with higher layers, there's more translation that needs to happen. It's going to take a bit longer. Go about your life as normal for the next few days, but pay special attention to any signs that it's working. You can repeat the technique during that time, once you feel up to it, to help the change come through stronger. I also want to say that your very first attempt might not be a massive change, but like anything else, you will get better with practice. Let's go through a detailed example so you can see what these steps look like in practice. Let's say you've got goals you want to achieve, but you lack consistent motivation. That's what's holding you back the most. You'd make that what you change. Motivation mainly stems from the brain, but other parts like the heart may be involved. So you decide to focus on the head and somewhat on the rest of the torso. And it's going to be a permanent change, so you'll be focused on higher layers when it comes to the visualization. You would go to a private space, like your bedroom for example, when other people are out or busy, so you aren't disturbed. Once calmly focused, you would say something like, I intend to change the energy in my brain and all other relevant parts of my body so that I feel consistent motivation to achieve my goals. This will be a permanent change. I instruct them to start changing quality and structure in the best way to deliver this transformation. You might add as much as possible, as deeply as possible, or I'll be consistently motivated no matter what. In this case, your visualization could be the higher layers of your brain rewiring, Or you could picture this new you rushing about with relentless drive. After a couple of minutes, you feel a sort of click, and you know your intention has been fully received. Your work is done. All that's left to say is, I intend for my energy to healthily recover from this change, and for it to translate, so it affects how I feel, think, and act as soon as possible. To help this happen quickly, you could even picture a signal rapidly going down layers of energy to your physical brain, if you have good visualization skills. Then it would be time to relax. Maybe note down what you felt and how it went. For the next couple of days, you'd keep an eye on yourself. See if you start to feel more motivated and find it easier to work on your goals. You could repeat the technique, maybe twice a day, maybe intending to change slightly denser layers each time to help reinforce that improved motivation. The whole point of this new technique is it's customizable. You can transform in the way you want, but I will list some ideas in case you're struggling to come up with something or just for inspiration. An easy but impactful change to start with is increasing a positive trait that will boost every aspect of your life. That's why I gave being permanently more motivated as the example. It'll help you get more done quicker. Some other simple ones. Mental energy, focus, or discipline will help you push through things, even when they're difficult. You can also go for something more emotion-based. If you feel more excited about life, more determined, or just more stable, everything will go better. If you lack a specific skill for whatever you want to do, you can easily develop it. Creativity, quick-minded intelligence, or social skills are all good options. For your first attempts at changing denser layers, think what would be the ideal state for some task you need to do. It won't last long, especially if you haven't had much practice. So this way, you make sure you have something tangible to show for it by the end. You could try getting yourself into a hyper-focused state before important work, or a creative one when trying to generate ideas, a confident one before a presentation, whatever applies to your life. These, on their own, could make a huge difference. Even being 10% more driven, if it's a permanent change, will add up over time. You'll get things done quicker, be just that bit more successful. It could lead to opportunities you never would have gotten otherwise. But I want to emphasize that there's even more potential here. As you edit yourself in smaller ways, you'll get better at altering energy, and your body will get used to transforming and be able to withstand even more change at once. With practice, you'll be able to level up to even more ambitious self-improvement. For example, you could work on your third eye and brain to unlock your natural psychic abilities. This allows you to see and feel your energy body accurately, so you no longer need to guess which area is the most relevant. When you make your next improvement, you can ask your psychic abilities to show you the best place to work on, and that'll make this technique even more effective. You'll also be able to develop external energetic powers, so you can affect not only yourself, but the world around you. And the possibilities with that are endless. You could improve the energy of your home so the space itself encourages you to be better. Help other people around you improve in whatever way they want. Another great idea is to simply improve your ability to change yourself, so every future transformation will be boosted. You can create permanent shielding, so that nothing other than you can change your energy. Just visualize a protective bubble around yourself, stating that intent. There's lots of negative, parasitic entities that like to drain and interfere with your energy body, so that's a super important one. As you get into this intermediate stage, you can also start affecting multiple layers at once. Just picture the stacked layers of whatever area you're focusing on, all being shaped by your intention simultaneously. If you do this right, you'll be able to get permanent, strong changes quickly, accelerating your self-improvement even more. However, remember this isn't feasible for beginners. Your power over energy needs to be pretty immense to change many layers at the same time, and that requires practice. Also, your energy body needs to get used to withstanding transformation, like building up a tolerance. So start with just changing higher layers. Learn the basics first. There's also some more ambitious temporary edits you could try. Instead of thinking what state would be good for a particular task, think what state would bring some new revelation or power that I could use in my daily life. For example, you could get into the perfect focus state for experiencing psychic abilities for the first time. Another great one is to get into the highest consciousness and perception possible. Then you can see your life afresh. It'll be a lot more obvious what you should be aiming for and spending your time on. You note down what you learn, then let that guide your daily actions. Once you've got psychic perception up and running, and you're able to get into high consciousness, you'll have a much better chance of finding out your purpose. Another idea that's really useful for this is to experience your original true spirit, who you are at your core, without the influence of your upbringing and society. If you know who you're meant to be, then what you're meant to do with that becomes more apparent. After a lot of practice, varied improvements, maybe some other energy work, it'll be time for the advanced stuff. I'm talking about superhuman levels of energy, intelligence, creativity, becoming that amazing version of yourself that you've envisioned. It's at this stage that you can create an energy body capable of all sorts of powers. Things like telepathy, accurate precognition. I even think it's possible to shapeshift the physical body over time or more immediately, to be healthier, stronger, whatever you want. And you can temporarily transform your mind to have the insights, create the great works that might just change the world, without risking losing who you are now. It may be tempting to try to skip to the big, exciting stuff. I used to do that whenever I came across magical or spiritual techniques, but that's just asking for disappointment. Like anything else in life, you need to start with the basics. There's no point trying algebra if you can't count. There's no point trying physical shapeshifting if you haven't learned to change more fluid, easier energies first. Which takes me on to the first question I'd like to answer. How long does it take to get good at this? If you follow those steps and the troubleshooting guide coming up, you should get a definite result with your very first attempt. By about your third, you'll have the confidence and experience to be good at easier changes to fluid energy. This is the stage where you can try altering your denser layers to quickly get into useful temporary states. Again, you should get something with your first try, and by the time you're into your third and beyond, it'll come quite easily. So, if you are working on your energy body every day, we're talking about a week to be competent at the easy stuff, just a week to be able to improve yourself in any direction. It's absolutely worth the 10-minute investment each day. I also want to address concerns around what if I do something wrong? What if I accidentally mess up my energy body? Any alteration you make comes from your own intention, your own brain and heart instructing other parts of you. Unless you intend to harm yourself, it's not going to happen. There do also seem to be fail-safes. Your energy body won't let itself get out of balance, and you'd instantly feel if anything wasn't right. You could then use your intention again to correct or undo it. So there's no risk involved in trying this. Another thing you can do is try out a potential change temporarily. See how it feels, whether it helps you. Then decide if you want to make it a lasting part of you. Can I use chakras or parts of the energy body I've learned about? Now, I'm not going to stop you doing that, but I want to explain why I don't, and why they don't feature at all in this technique. Firstly, it makes things unnecessarily complicated. Your intention is diverted into acting upon just one thing, when you might get stronger results by leaving it open-ended. so it can act upon whatever parts are relevant. There is another reason that will be very controversial. I honestly believe that most of the spiritual information out there is half true at best. I used to do lots of established practices and got almost nothing from it. As soon as I started developing my own techniques, the difference was like night and day. If you're still watching, then you probably have similar frustrations. Those practices are the logical conclusion of New Age, mystical, and occult belief systems. If they're ineffective, then that means there must be something wrong with the doctrine behind them. I'm not going to go any deeper than that in this video, but I would encourage you to question anything you're told about the metaphysical, even if it's ancient, even if it's widely believed, even if it feels comforting. Chakras, layers of the aura are included in that. I'm not saying they aren't real, but there's a possibility they aren't nearly as useful or important as people make out. There's even a theory that they aren't naturally part of our energy body and are artificially overlaid onto us to compartmentalize and weaken our energy. I'll let you make up your own mind on that. And once you've got reliable psychic perception, you can look at the chakras and perceive whether that's true for yourself. But those are the reasons why I advocate for everyone to just use their own intention and keep things as simple as possible. Last question. If I make all these changes, will I still be me? When you think about it, your personality, thoughts, feelings have been heavily influenced by your genetics, upbringing, the people around you, what society tells you is normal. You've hardly had a choice in any of it. By deciding who you want to be and changing yourself towards that a bit at a time, you're not losing anything. You're finding yourself. You'll be more you because you've chosen it. While nothing can really go wrong with this technique, there are a few mistakes that could stop your results being as pronounced as they could be. I'll go through them in advance, so you can avoid them and get real transformation sooner. We'll start with the biggest, lack of commitment. If you're not really trying or distracted in any way, then your intention will be muddled and not very strong. You won't send the clear signal needed to change energy. The exact solution depends on the source of the problem. If it's focus you struggle with, try deep breathing or instruct your mind to stop wondering. Remember, intention can do many things, including telling parts of yourself what to do in the moment. Just vocalize and visualize your intent to immediately focus. Any doubts, reluctance, or disbelief can also get in the way. The best solution to this one is simply to practice, because as you see results, you'll become more and more confident. For your first attempts, try to have an attitude of open-mindedness. You can even instruct your brain to believe this is possible, that you do have the power to improve yourself. If that feels a bit forced, you can also get around doubt by picturing flicking a switch that says you approve this change. That just tells your energy body that even though I'm feeling reluctant, I do actually want this to happen. I want to transform in this way. You might get nervous or rush through the statement of intent so that you don't actually mean the words you're saying. Take your time with it. Remember why you wanted to change and put that desire into it. Lack of commitment isn't the only problem that might arise. Another one is some people find it hard to visualize. If that's you, give it a go, but if it's really not your thing, then just stating your intent will work fine, as long as you mean it. The last easy mistake to make is not giving yourself the opportunity to use your new trait or skill. If you edit yourself to become more motivated, for example, and then have a week off where you have very little to do, that's not ideal. For a start, because you don't experience the benefit, you'll probably think it hasn't worked, and lose faith in your ability to change yourself. But the main problem is, if you don't use it, you lose it. It's like a muscle. Without being exercised, any new traits will waste away. So, you need to make sure that you'll have the opportunity to use your change. Have a list of tasks ready before you do work on your motivation. Go to or organize a get-together to see if your social skills really have improved. You now know how to avoid making mistakes, but is there anything external that could get in the way of your self-improvement? Unfortunately, the answer is yes. I spoke already about how there's many layers of energy, with things going on that might not necessarily be obvious in the physical. There are negative and parasitic spirits that exist in these unseen layers of reality, usually called entities. They feed off our life force. Our energy is their food. They don't want you to be psychic because then you'd be able to see them and know what they're doing. They don't want you to improve your own energy because it will make you stronger and stronger until they can't steal from you anymore. So to stop this, they interfere with our energy bodies in all kinds of ways. That can be through implanting energetic devices, influencing us using their intention, all to suppress our potential as naturally powerful beings and to make us easier prey. This isn't some rare thing. Everyone, including you, will already have all sorts of artificial implants and entity interference within your energy body. I know that's a scary thought, but you can clear yourself of it by intention, and then recover all that's been taken from you. Again, it's just a matter of vocalization, visualization, and will. You state that you want to remove the worst, most harmful implant you can, for example, and picture it leaving your body. Once at a safe distance, destroy it with fire or blast it with a laser, whatever image feels right, until there's no trace left. It's a good idea to visualize a shield around you to stop it coming back, or anything else getting in. Then say your intention to heal your energy where the implant was, back to a natural functional state. Since everything you are comes from the energy body, the less harmful junk there is in it, the more it heals, the better you'll become. So this is another great technique to improve yourself. Of course, the exact benefits depend on what the thing you removed was doing. If you remove implants from your third eye, your psychic abilities might suddenly double in strength, for instance. Or if an entity was living in your torso and constantly siphoning your energy, getting rid of it would mean you won't feel so tired all the time. You'll finally have the internal resources spare to do all the things you really want to do. But probably the biggest general benefit is you'll feel more like yourself. Your natural personality and talents will no longer be distorted or artificially limited, and will automatically improve. And instructing energy in other ways will also become easier, because you've gotten rid of the main limitation on your energetic power. You'll be able to graduate into those intermediate and even advanced tiers of self-improvement much quicker. If you want more details, I'm going to put some links in the description or on screen. It's really worth trying entity and implant removal, because this is something that holds everyone back. Most of the things that you don't like about yourself come from these entities. They weren't you at all. So to really transform yourself, it's not just about altering your energy body in a desired direction, but removing all the artificial stuff that, up until now, has been keeping you stuck as you are. With these two self-improvement techniques, you can become the person you always wanted to be. Find your purpose, live your dreams. Go back to the steps as soon as you can and try that first one. It'll only take a few minutes, so it's worth at least seeing if it works, seeing if you really can change. Going forward, you can also combine it with other techniques for even better results. Entity and implant removal will get rid of all kinds of limitations and negative traits, and help you feel more energetic. If you develop psychic perception, then you can independently gain spiritual knowledge and be much more accurate in changing your energy body. There's also ways to improve your external life at the same time. I've made a comprehensive guide to magic, not the witchy or dark type, but a totally new approach to it. It's all about changing a certain energetic layer of the external world, hacking reality so you get the opportunities and lifestyle that you want. You now have access to a wide range of tools. You can transform yourself and the world. Don't let yourself lose this information. Write down the steps to changing your energy body. Subscribe so you keep learning ways to improve your life. Maybe bookmark other videos you're interested in, somewhere you'll actually see them. It's also important to not just hoard information, but to put all this into practice. Try that technique as soon as you can. Set reminders on your phone to work on your energy body, whatever it takes. Don't let yourself slip back into a dissatisfying, boring life. Remember to keep transforming. Thanks for watching, and I hope you find all this useful.